Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasul Kareem. We start discussing this interesting verse about the pledge that Allah Ta'ala took from all the creation, or rather the humankind, in Alam al-Alas or Alam al-Arwah, when Allah Ta'ala passed his hand in the back of Adam alayhi salam. Then according to some riwayat, all the progeny came out of Adam alayhi salam. Certain riwayat say no, like the children came out of Adam Islam, then their children came out of their children, and their children came out of their children, which is not contradictory because you say all came out of Adam, salam, it means still that they could have come out directly or indirectly. Like you say, your grandfather is also your father, but he's not your direct father, he's your indirect father. So there's no real contradiction. But the main thing is that all of the progeny till Qiyamah came out. Those that were brightly illuminated were the ones that would go to Jannat, the ones that were, you can say, black in color, devoid of any nur, light. They the ones that go to, they were destined for Jahannam. The actions will not be up to scratch, right? So then we discuss also that the reason for this, why Allah Ta'ala made them take this pledge, it is from the various means that Allah Ta'ala employed to show that a person must be on the straight path. Similar, when a person come to a madrasa, a person come to a school, I promise to obey the rules. If I obey the rules, I will be successful. If I come regularly, follow all the rules, and I will be successful. If I don't come regularly, I don't follow the rules. So this was like a pledge that if you fulfill these rules, you follow the prophets that come, you believe in one Allah Ta'ala, then you will be successful, and then you will enjoy the bliss of heaven. But if you are unsuccessful, you don't follow the rules, then obviously, so these mithaq, or these, you can say, these pledges were all part of the greatest scheme of keeping people on the straight path, right? So that is how this thing fits in. Are you with me? The pledges were all part of the scheme, like how we told you, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah Ta'ala created life and He created death, dunya, so that He may test you that who is the one that will give into his desires, who is the one that will just work for the dunya and become oblivious of the akhirat, and who is the one that will make effort. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, so that He may test you who is the best from amongst you in good deeds. So these pledges were part of the design to remind you, like to like I told you, when you enter the school, you sign the code of the conduct that if you want best results, you have to follow the rules, right? So that's where we are till now, right? So some other, you can say, subsidiary discussions I discuss in between, but this is a trust. This is the main thing of what we discuss. Like how did so many people come out the back of Adam alayhi salam, all this stuff. Those are the subsidiary discussions, but this is the main thing. Anyway, the above discussion with regard to the covenant of eternity. So we call this Ahd al-Las, the covenant of Alam al-Arwah, etc. The covenant, it gives rise to a couple of questions. Which was the time and place of this covenant? When exactly did this happen? And where exactly did it happen? This pledge was taken prior to the creation of all human beings, excluding Adam alayhi salam. How did the children of Adam have knowledge and reason to acknowledge Allah Ta'ala Almighty as being the nourisher of their Lord, which requires experience of them being nourished, which was not possible prior to the coming as human beings? So the question come about here, that insan that was still in his uh, what you say, it's arwah stage. They didn't get the message as yet about tawheed, etc. So how are they able to answer this question? Right? So different objections or questions come about. Let's look at the first one. The first question has been answered by the companion Abdullah ibn Abbas. Remember, Abdullah ibn Abbas was a great mufassir, was known as Hibrul Ummah, right? Abdullah ibn Abbas has reported through the authentic sources by Imam Ahmad and Nasai that the covenant was taken at the time when Adam was sent down from the heavens to the earth. So here, interesting. When Adam, remember Adam, we discussed this when we started in the beginning of the year. We discussed that with the same surah A'raf. Those who were with us from the beginning will remember there's still a few years that were with us from the beginning. Adam salam resided in Jannat. We done in detail all the details, how he came to the dunya, how Hawa salam came to the dunya. So here they say, according to this here, this happened after Adam alayhi salam came to the dunya, so it happened in the dunya with me. And this is according to the riwayat of Hazrat Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So the first question has been answered by the companion Abdullah ibn Abbas, as reported through authentic sources by Ahmad and Nasai, that the covenant was taken at the time when Adam Islam was sent down from the heavens to the earth. The place and valley of Na'ma'a, and known as the place of Arafah near Makkah. So outside there is a place called Na'ma'a, and this is also known as the plain of Arafah. This is where this promise took place, right? As to the second question with regards to inability of the acknowledging Allah Ta'ala as the Lord prior to the creation, the answer is quite simple. Allah Almighty, who had the power to do anything He wills and was able to make all the human beings appear in the sight of an end, could more easily imbue knowledge and reason enough to make them capable of recognizing the Rabb and the Nourisher. So the second question was that man was not, etc., etc. So how is it that he answered this question correctly? How was it possible that he could answer this question correctly and this could be binding upon him? The answer is here that remember, Allah Ta'ala was the creator, so Allah Ta'ala could have inspired them with this. Remember the hadith I said, we done this in the beginning of Mishkat, كل مولود يولد الفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه, that all the children of Adam alayhi salam are born with a natural two explanations. One is they're born with Tawheed, or they're born with the ability to recognize Tawheed. So whichever way you take it to, you take it and this also supports that a person is born with the fitrah that will help him recognize the Tawheed because he took this covenant. So Allah Ta'ala had instilled in every single human being the ability to recognize the truth. Hence, when he was faced with this, do you accept that me, Allah, is your one and only Rabb, there's no other Rabb, you would naturally recognize it, you would naturally understand it. Are you with me? So, Allah Ta'ala, the one who sustains, He naturally inspired people with this, right? The insan, right? So, another question which remains answered is what value can be attached to a covenant occurring prior to the actual creation of human beings, which is not remembered by them after they take the actual existence on the earth. We did touch a bit of this here, that what if you say this covenant took place, etc., then what is the purpose when you can't remember it? We did touch, I told you that if you can't remember something, doesn't mean it's of no value. And another maybe benefit of this is like I told you, كل مولود يولد الفطرة. Even though you don't remember it, but because you took the covenant, you've got the natural disposition of Tawheed within you. That no, Tawheed is your second nature. It's latent in you. So that if you are left on your own, then this is what would manifest itself. Yes, فَأَبَوَاهُ يُهَوِّدَانِهِ أَوْ يُنَصِّرَانِهِ. If he's born in a Christian home, his Christian parents will make him Christian. If he's born in a Jewish home, his Jewish parents will make him Jew. But yes, he has the ability to recognize. That is why Imam Abu Hanifa, you done this here in your Usul al-Shashi, is mentioned clearly there. If a person did not receive the message of Islam at all, he was born or he lived in a place where the message, he is still bound by Tawheed. We will say, yes, okay, he's not bound by Risalat, but Allah Ta'ala had created in every single person the natural ability to recognize Tawheed and to accept Allah Ta'ala as one, right? So he's still mukallaf of Tawheed. Why? Because of this covenant he took, which is in his nature. Allah Ta'ala had created that latent capacity within him to recognize that Allah Ta'ala is one, right? So we're discussing the benefits of a covenant that you cannot remember, right? So before proceeding to answer this question, we may add that in some cases there have been individuals who remember the occasion of the covenant. There are people, for example, the great spiritual leader, Dhun Nur al-Misr. This was a great Sufi. So I remember the occurrence of the covenant as clearly as I'm hearing at this moment. As I hear this verse here, I remember taking this promise. Some of the adults have reported to have remembered even people who were present near them. Some of the people who remember, they can even remember which souls were close to them. True that such cases are rare and not make an answer to the above question. So this is the exception to the rule, right? So, but what about those people who don't remember, right? The answer to this question, therefore, is that many things or acts which are effective in their very nature without any regard to their being remembered or understood by others. They imprint the effect on others quite naturally. So see, this is even though you can't remember, but it has an effect on you. For example, the common practice among Muslims of saying the adhan in the right ear of a newborn and reciting the iqamah in the left ear is an obvious example of such acts. See, do you remember, Lukman? Do you remember when you were born, your father gave adhan in your right ear, in your left ear? Can you remember? You can't. So because you can't remember, you're going to say, no, when my child is born, I'm not going to give azan because I can't remember. He's not going to remember. So what's the benefit of it? You're not going to do that. Why? Because you know this had an effect on him. This helped his build his fitrah. What does that? It helped. It contributed to his fitrah. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. There is only one Allah. You should not make shirk, etc. So the baby neither understands the meaning of the scroll. Now, nor does he remember it after becoming adult. The wisdom behind this religious practice is nothing but to revive the pledge that he has taken with Allah Ta'ala and to sow the, like how they say, when you plant the seeds under the ground, you see nothing is happening there. Now, if a farmer, after he plants the seeds, I don't see anything growing here, man. This is a waste of time. Why must I plant this? But if he's experienced, if you know there's something happening under the ground. You know that look here, the seeds is germinating. Soon it will pop up, it will break ground, etc. Will come above the ground. The same thing. You can't remember that thing. You think it has no effect. You think that azan does not effect. You don't know what type of impression it had on that impressionable young man, young woman. The wisdom behind this religious practice is nothing but to revive the pledge he has taken with Allah Ta'ala and sow the seeds of faith in his heart by repeating the message of the covenant in the ears. So simple. The first time I come across this, quite interesting. So when you give azan in the child of a newborn, you actually remind the child of the pledge that he had taken with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? The influence of this act is so obvious that it can be seen in every Muslim individual. Even if he's not practical Muslim, he takes pride in calling himself a Muslim and utterly dislike being deprived of this categorically. So you're saying here, if you, a person maybe even, is not even a practicing Muslim, right? Even if a person, even as a woman, for example, and they don't show any time of Islam, but if you question that person, are you a Muslim? That person will become so annoyed. They told, how can you ask me such a question? Even though you don't see the signs of Iman, but what is that annoyance in that person? That is the ghairat. That is the seeds of Iman that has been planted in her heart. That this person become annoyed, and the person takes great exception to be questioned with regards to Iman. That shows you that even though the signs of the Iman is not there, but it has been deeply embedded and it's been deeply placed in the heart of the believer. So Adhan is the call for Salah, the ritual prayer, which in fact is a bold declaration that Allah Ta'ala is one. As if you look at Adhan, which is such a potent thing, that is why it comes in the Kutubul Fiqh, inshallah, you do, that if a community refuses to give Adhan, then the Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Khalifa, can actually wage jihad on them. What? If any community becomes lackadaisical, they become, today we have restrictions like, maybe the law. We're not speaking about that. We say like in a Muslim country where people just become lazy, they don't want to give azan, etc. So Islam is such a great sha'air, azan is such a great shi'ar, a sign of Islam that the Khalifa can wage jihad on them for becoming lackadaisical with regards to azan. So azan is a call for salah. So such a great ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we take for granted that we are living in a place where we can hear the azan, subhanallah. So azan is a call for salah, the ritual prayer, which in fact is a bold declaration that Allah ta'ala is one, he has no partners, and he's the greatest of all, etc. While iqama is the same declaration with added qad qamat salah enunciation that the salah has been ready, the salah has been set to be joined by the people. Okay, there's still a letter. Rana is here now to carry on, inshallah. A little bit more explanation, and then, inshallah, it will take about 4 or 5 minutes to finish it, little bit English. Then we start with the actual text tomorrow. Allah Ta'ala accept. Subhanallah, bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma, bihamdika. Wa la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Tonight is Mishkat number 2. What Nazim, what Bam people doing?